1. Now, this is not strictly a story, but more of a summary of my observations, 20 plus years if you want to know, sprinkled with my theories. I'm not even sure I want others to say it's true. Maybe I'd rather have people say I'm biased or crazy. Anyway, here it is. I have always been watching other people. It's almost my weird hobby to observe and learn about people. I do not mean in a voyeuristic sense. I mean it is utterly fascinating to me to meet new people and learn about them by conversation and observation. I even have a degree in psychology, which is largely due to this fascination of mine. The thing is, some years ago, I have realized that the people I meet, with rare exceptions, are based on a limited number of archetypes. This includes their personality, interests, quirks, occupation, and physical looks. At first, I disregarded that as just biased observations, but every year I see it more. It has come to a point where, upon learning that a person is based on a certain archetype, usually first 10 minutes of contact, I can deduce a staggering amount of information about them very accurately, which gets confirmed after I get to know a person better. Keep in mind that physical characteristics are affected as well, so just coincidental similar life experience of two people doesn't cover it. Why would they also look very similar? I estimate the number of archetypes at less than 100, although probably more if you include different cultures than the European West, where I have spent all my life so far. However, I have lived in 2 countries in the region, and met the same archetypes despite somewhat different cultures. Now obviously there are differences between individuals, but they're usually quite minor, like a different favorite band, but one still creating music of the same genre. A different degree perhaps, but always related, say civil engineering and computing. Now obviously I must have asked myself if I'm unique, right? And I don't think I am. I have met a few people which struck me as remarkably similar to me, and currently I work for a person like that. Our cooperation goes really well. It's like we think in the same fashion. Whatever he says and then explains, I don't even listen to explanations, it is not needed, because every time I just do exactly what he had in mind. So it seems I too have an archetype I share with others. This is making me uncomfortable, not gonna lie. Now, I said there are exceptions. Some people just don't seem to fit. My mother would be an example of that. I never met anyone remotely like she is. Could be that I just know her very well. She is quite a private person after all. So perhaps I met a bunch of characters that are like her, but just didn't realize it. In fact, I'd say this is the most likely explanation. The only exceptions I can think of are people very close to me, and those are all introverts that are hard to get to know. Here's an example. I met a woman in a bar whom I found attractive and started a chat with her. It turns out she's studying architecture, has a kid but no husband or boyfriend, is a feminist and gets nervous in social situations, with her body language being quite peculiar while she is nervous. Despite that, she was talkative and social. Her skin has an unusual tan complexion, and she has a slight teeth misalignment. The hair is brown. I got her number and were set up for a date. Now meet the other woman, one I used to know and even date for a short period of time. She didn't have a kid, but was very, slutty. So an accidental pregnancy wouldn't be a surprise. She was studying engineering. Very close to architecture, isn't it? She had the same nervous gestures, facing some social anxiety, and was also a declared feminist. Also, she was talkative and social. Her skin tone and teeth issue were identical. Hair was also a match, although she had dyed it white, unlike her counterpart. We used to date for a while. That's just an example of what I call the cookie-cutter people, or archetypes. My theory, well, the only one I have, is that most people are NPCs, background for those among us who are real people, the players of this game. But that would probably mean I'm an NPC too, which feels weird. Anyone else has crazy experiences like this? 2. So I'm a hairstylist, and this story is about a client of mine that has been coming to me for the past 4 or 5 years. Let's call her Summer. So, Summer is great. She's about my age, and we instantly bonded. I gave her haircuts for the first year or so, and she keeps her hair fairly conservative and consistent. We never colored her hair before, but she started hinting she wanted to try it. After about 6 months of debating and discussing it, we agreed to try some subtle highlights. She's very nervous, and I assure her it will look great. It will look natural, and she's definitely going to want me to do more down the road. As predicted, it was beautiful and very subtle. She got over her fear of coloring her hair, and we go even brighter the next time. From then on, every once in a while, Summer lets me do something a little bit different. Nothing too crazy, but I'd suggest the latest trends and we tailor a more appropriate version of it for her. I never force anyone to do anything they don't want to do, but the way I see it, if I'm not offering something new every now and then, I'm not doing my job. After a few years, you really get to know people, and my favorite part of the job is encouraging people to come out of their comfort zones. I mean, I think balayage highlights would look effing amazing on you, but you think about it and let me know. It's their hair after all. So anyways, in November 2017, Summer comes in for her appointment. We're just doing a haircut and what we in the hair world call a toner. Basically, this is a 20-minute color service for when hair needs to be refined, revived, or corrected. At this appointment, I make the joke for the millionth time that we should put some fashion colors in her hair. This time though, she surprises me. She agrees. Now, I'm as skeptical as I am excited, but I want to jump on the chance to try it before she changes her mind, so I ask her, "What color are you thinking?" "Blue," she says. By this time I'm dying with laughter because this is so out of character for her, and I'm convinced she's messing with me. But Summer tells me that she wants to do it. So I apply the toner, and towards the back of her head, I put 1 or 2 foils of blue color. So she'll have a pop of blue amidst her highlights. Again, she's pretty conservative stylistically, and though she had a few questions about how it would look, she seemed to really want it done. So I let the color process, and she's got a blue streak in her hair. I think it's perfectly appropriate, but to my surprise, when we're looking at it at the end of the haircut, Summer says she's disappointed it's not more noticeable. I laugh, tell her we'll do more next time, and think nothing of it. Fast forward to January 2018, and Summer is on the schedule for her next appointment. My coworker says to me, "Oh, Summer, that's the girl you did the blue on, right?" Now, I've completely forgotten about the blue peekaboo we did last time, and I immediately brush my coworker off. "There's no way Summer would let me do that," I say. "Not the whole head, just a few pieces in the back," coworker says. My immediate response is to laugh and deny it. But there's something in the back of my head nagging at me. I'm confused, because Summer has always been nervous about changing her color. So I suggest coworker must be mistaking her for another client. "No," coworker says, "she's the teacher." "Yeah," I say. "And she's got the boyfriend in England?" "Yeah." "She was getting her hair done before she left for school break to fly abroad to visit him." I'm stunned silent. "Yeah, the last time she was here, she sat right there with her laptop, and you put blue foils in and did a toner at the chair." In my head, the wheels were slowly turning. Summer would never let me do funky colors before. Believe me, I had asked, but it was true. The last time she was here, I had her sit in a different chair, and she was working on her laptop the whole time. Suddenly it clicked. We were so distracted by the whole blue hair spectacle, Summer had even accidentally left her laptop behind, and once she paid and left, she had to come back for it. I laugh, and I can't wait to remind Summer about it. However, when she comes in, she has no recollection of it whatsoever. This didn't seem so strange to me, seeing as I didn't even remember it until coworker insisted. But Summer is adamant that it never happened. "That had to be someone else," she says. "I wouldn't do that." "That's what I thought," I say. "But I remember being worried it would be too bright. But when we looked at it, you said you could barely see it. We talked about it for 20 minutes. At this point, Summer is looking a little unnerved. "I would remember dyeing my hair blue," she says. We stare at each other for a moment, and I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of the situation. I go through the whole story again, and coworker chimes in. It definitely happened. I even recalled the conversation we originally had about it. "Well, if you hate it, at least you're on school break," I had said. "Oh, I've got another week or so to go," she replied. "Oh, the kids will love it, though." Exactly. Ultimately, I don't push it and we move on. Summer's appointment is over and she leaves. I know this was just a weird situation and she'll probably remember next time. So 3 months later, Summer comes in for her next appointment, and I bring it up again. Not surprisingly, she says she's been thinking about it, but she's sure that it never happened. We ask her boyfriend, and a friend of hers that she would have been hanging out with at the time. Neither of them remember her dyeing part of her hair blue, and neither of them remembered her even mentioning it. This is the part that had me confused. Summer's convinced that coworker and I are playing a joke on her. A friend suggested that maybe she really did just forget it happened. I'll admit that's plausible, but even if she forgot about it, part of her hair was blue when she left the salon. Someone would have noticed it. She would have looked at it in the mirror at home. She would have asked the friend she was with that night if they liked it. She would have debated adding more of it or making it a brighter blue, or something. At the very least, she would have expressed some kind of disappointment. If I think back to that day, I remember her being so casual about it. As if blue hair wasn't out of the ordinary. I should have realized just how far out of character that was. Who knows? Maybe that's just what her character is like in a parallel universe. 3. This is the first glitch I've ever experienced. I've had déjà vu happen a lot in the past, but I don't consider that a glitch, as I believe that is just your brain putting a memory straight into long-term memory, rather than into short-term memory first, causing you to think you've experienced it before. This story is about something suddenly changing right in front of me. Today I went out for a couple of groceries to go with dinner, and picked up some lunch from a fast food place. I was driving home when I noticed a truck in front of me. A plume of black exhaust had come out of its tailpipe, and I groaned internally because my car's AC was set to vent, so that exhaust smell would be pulled right into my car. I hate the smell of exhaust. This truck ended up going in the same direction as I was, so I was behind it for a while. Naturally, I was watching it closely since I was behind it. It was silver with one of those large toolboxes in the back. It had a wide black step under the tailgate, with a bumpy texture. There was nothing strange or remarkable about the truck. After following behind this truck for a few minutes, we came to a red light and stopped. It was then that I noticed a small deer head decoration where the trailer hitch usually is. I was confused, because I hadn't seen it before, and it would have stood out to me, since I had been quite close to the truck's bumper at the last red light. Close enough to see the texture of the tailgate step. I wondered if I had just not noticed, and looked at the rest of the bumper. It was different too. The step up was smaller and not textured at all. I thought perhaps the truck I had been following had turned off somewhere without me noticing, and there happened to be a similar one in front of me now. But no, that wasn't possible. I had never taken my eyes off the truck for even 1 second, because I am a careful driver, and I had been watching to see if another cloud of exhaust would come from its tailpipe. I would definitely have noticed if it had turned off somewhere. The only option left was that I had just experienced a glitch. The whole experience was weird to me, but now I know that glitches are real. I never really gave them much credit before, I just thought they were entertaining stories. I usually try to find the most rational explanation for things first, and I had no explanation for this because I knew I hadn't looked away from this truck at all. So believe what you will, but I am a believer in the Matrix now. 4. Me, my wife, my sister-in-law, and a friend were eating dinner at a local restaurant tonight. February 10th, 2018. Everything was going fine. We laughed and were walking back to my car. On the road in front of the restaurant there had been a car accident. It was a black SUV and a cop car was behind him, trying to get his car off the road and to safety. Everyone was looking because we were all curious. We looked into the window of the SUV, and the driver was a bald black man, mid-30s, in a green shirt. The cop pulled the car into the same parking lot we were in, still watching. The SUV parked, and out of the driver's seat stepped a late-30s Hispanic man. He had a head full of hair and a mustache. I figured I was crazy, but as we drove past, my friend goes, "I swear that was a black guy." Then my wife chimes in that she also saw a black gentleman behind the wheel. Everyone in my car saw the driver of the SUV being a black man, and no one broke contact till the Hispanic man stepped out. There was absolutely no time for two people to switch places. And there was only the police officer and the driver of the SUV. I have no idea how that could or did happen. Anyone have any ideas? 5. When I was younger, I lived in a cul-de-sac. All of the kids there were friends. It was the type of place where everyone knew everyone. I was about 12 years old. Across the street from me lived an older guy named Lucky. I think he was 16 or 17. Either way, significantly older than me. Lucky was a cool guy, if my memory was correct. He didn't really hang out with the neighborhood, but he was nice enough to all of us. Once a year, someone places a sign at the entrance to the cul-de-sac that reads yard sales. Everyone on the street would put out tables and display their stuff, trying to sell it off to whoever passes through. Surprisingly, a lot of people would show up since it was really convenient. Just drive down one side of the road and up the other, like some junkyard drive-through. After one yearly yard sale, everyone was packing their things up, and as a kid I was looking at all the leftover things. I spot Lucky packaging up his table and I head over. As I approach, I see this red bowling ball. It was like gold flake or something. And as young kids, I thought it was neat. I asked him about it and he says, "Oh yeah, that was just left over. You can have it if you want." So in my head I was like, heck yeah. After thanking him, I took it home with me. It was later at night, so I basically went to bed shortly after. The next day I was fighting with one of my sisters. They're twins and we fought like, well, siblings. She's screaming at me and chasing me through the house with a steak knife. So I run to my room and shut the door. Once safely inside, I wait for things to calm down. Then I get bored, so I figure maybe I should just get out of the house. I see the bowling ball and take it with me. No real plans for it, but it was new and I liked it. I exit my room and tell my sister to go to hell and leave. Mind you, it's the middle of summer and my single mom worked full time, while she left us kids to our own devices. So I leave and spend a good 20 minutes going to friends' houses to see who wants to hang out, and everyone is either gone or busy, so I resign to heading home. When I get there, all of the doors are locked, so I run around the house to my room window where I was going to try to climb through. The window was a bit high up, so I grab my bowling ball out of the front yard and use it as a higher platform to step on. Just as I'm opening my window while balancing on this ball, I hear a super loud crash. I jump down and run to the front door, which at this point is standing wide open. I enter the house looking for the sound, and I find my sister in the bathroom with her hands covering her mouth, staring at the remains of our toilet. The thing is demolished, and there's water everywhere. But amidst the chaos is my freaking bowling ball. She said she had rolled it into the toilet and the toilet broke. But I took it with me when I left. I was standing on it when I heard the crash. How in the hell did it get there? She didn't leave to go get it. By the time I had heard the noise to the time I was in the bathroom, there had been a span of maybe 15 seconds. I still think about that every now and again, and I can't explain it. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 5 True Glitch in the Matrix Stories, episode 69. And thank you very much to everyone who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've got a busy few days ahead of me. I've got episode 300 to make for Monday. That's technically part of my weekend videos, but I don't know how long it's going to be yet, but I expect it's going to be a bit of a beast. Which is what it should be for an anniversary video, so going to be getting to work on that. I will, however, make sure I've got plenty of snacks and supplies to get me through the experience. I'm debating whether or not I should just stay home tomorrow and get my shopping delivered. Bloody good that we can do that these days. Or if I should nip out. It's probably better for me if I actually just went up the street and got it myself. I just went out on the bike for a little bit. But I'm trying to think of managing time, the best way to do it. Well, I'm sure I'll work it out. And with that, I think I'm going to head off for now. As I say, oodles of work, and I want to get on top of it so that it doesn't get on top of me. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.